Right, so these first are at-large board members, Jimmy McConan. Yay, right back here. And Carol McKinney. Dan Fitzronde. Bill Fager. We have David here. We'll fill in later this evening. And our treasurer, Danielle Walters. Our secretary is now, but we had Carrie Guard this year. Vice President is Jesse Powell. Over here. She's about Mary Ross. Okay, so I would like to ask if there's anybody here tonight that's a first time attendee at a LICA meeting. Oh my goodness, we've got a lot of people. I'll just go. Can you stand up and introduce yourself? I know you can.
I'm Ken Swanson. Great to be here.
And okay, atmosphere. Okay. Anybody, any more? Oh. Okay, you all have an agenda. Is can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, are there any additions or discussions? Seeing none, we'll get going. All right, so the first thing on the agenda is president's comments, and I promise I am going to keep this short. This has been a really good year for LICA. We have come a long way from where we were at our annual meeting at this time last year. Well, it was a month later, but we've really come a long way. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of give you like a kind of a brief skim on some highlights of things that have happened this year. So, and these are things I think LICA and everybody here in this community should be very proud of, because without you, it wouldn't have happened. This year of LICA hosts, or last in 2023, LICA hosted 5 community blood drives and partnering with BloodWorks Northwest. And we collected over 130 units of whole blood from island donors, which is pretty amazing when you think that each of those units can help up to 3 people. So that's about half of our population, you know. So when you think of it in peoples and neighbors and everything, that's a really great thing. We did our roadside cleanup this year and teamed up with the Grange and Heritage Trust, and we actually added a new partner with a new organization on the island called Resilient Women. So we had about 100 people. We collected a lot of stuff, and has been really successful. And we kind of changed back to the old format. Worked pretty good. People had a nice time having hot dogs and chili afterwards, so it was good. We did a little bit of changes to our general membership meeting formats this year, trying to improve attendance because it's been kind of slow coming back from the pandemic. You know, it's great to have so many people in the room tonight, but So what we've been doing is doing the happy hour format, and it gave community members a chance to socialize over appetizers. And then we would do our program, and then we would have our general meeting. And that seemed to go pretty well this year. So we did some outreach to new islanders in the springtime, because we kind of got, there's a lot of people that just have come to the island since 2020, and we haven't really got to know as many new neighbors as possible. So we had a couple special meetings that were just to introduce people to the island, and to also to do stuff with introduce people to some of the resources on the island. Like we had our Meet the Farmers and Fishers in May, and I think it was island arts and crafts and stuff. But we just done a bunch of stuff that way. We also attended the Saturday market, so had a real good presence there. Got to talk to a lot of people, and then we supported the Ferry Issues Town Hall meeting in August, and that was attended by over 100 islanders in person and in Zoom. So that was a real good thing, especially in August, to get that many people to show up for a meeting. And that was the one talking about ferry issues. In October, we had a pretty successful candidates forum. We had candidates from all of the 5 county races show up, and it was really well attended. Another thing where we had over 100 people attending. We also did a really amazing, cool thing in November. The community got together to recognize and thank Paul Davis for his long service to the Lummi Island community. And we had a dedication that we worked with the county council and Whatcom County Public Works and some other community members to have the little ferry orchard named Paul Davis Park, and dedicate the little driveway through there as Paul Davis Parkway. And after really all out there in Zoom land. So he's still coming to our meetings. And then how many of you got the 2024-25 edition of the Lummi Island Directory? That's pretty cool. And thanks to the work of a lot of people, especially Jesse House, and selling a lot of ads. We made that, and last thing is, you're all getting the tone. I really like the new tone of designs. It was great before, but now it's so huge thank you to the entire tone production team. Chris Sager and Bill Sager, and Carol and Danielle and Jesse and myself. We've all been working on this. And Jimmy, you have been helping out with a lot of stuff. You did all the holding everything. So, but we also have a lot of support to the community. And I'm pleased to say tonight, due to the absolutely overwhelming support of the community in 2023, last year at this time, we were really scrambling to figure out if we were going to be able to make it through the next year budget-wise. And the community has really come together. And so tonight, I'm sure you read this in the tome already, but we are recommending a $11,300 grant package to help fund some projects on the island. So with that, I will. Okay, and we're going to be next to Treasury Report And yo.
So really quickly, guys, we're gonna take so we got 5 draws tonight, door prizes, so you all got a ticket, so if you look at your ticket. So Carol's going to draw the first ticket. Yeah. Karen thinks we're gonna get away from cars. Yeah. Here's the phone that party, okay? Okay, Peter's card. Anybody else got a ticket?
Yeah.
Okay, Carol. Okay, Mark, you wanna draw? Come here, Mark. Right. It is. If it doesn't fit, Mary Barnes will give you.
111-076. 111-0776. Okay. 076. No, 077.
All right. This will really be short. Thanks to all of your donations and to the advertisers of the Tome and the directory, we have donations and advertising of $30,464. We ended the year with a total of $26,358 in the bank and are ready to give out all of these great grants.
Okay, and next on the agenda is book doc update. And so I can start with just saying hello. Hello. During this year, the LICA was awarded a grant from Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office for the purpose of doing a feasibility study on building a boat dock, a public boat, a recreational public boat dock at the old site of the ferry dock, which is across from the Beach Store Cafe. So, and if you want to learn more about the history of where we've gone, basically, LICA was approached in 2021 by a group of citizens who were interested in looking at trying to come up with a place to put and a way to put a public dock on Lummi Island. It was done as kind of a response to the lack of easy access and egress from the island when the ferry is down. And so there was a group of people that approached LICA in 2021 and asked if they could form a subcommittee. The board talked about that and decided that, yes, that would be a good idea to investigate the possibility of doing that. That committee has been going since, I think we had our first meeting in September of 2021. And the committee has been going along and looking at all kinds of different places, all kinds of different things. And in September of 2022, we found a grant that was being offered by the Washington State Department of Recreation and Conservation Office. And we decided that we would ask, like, it was a thing that was open to nonprofit organizations. And Boat Dock Committee couldn't do anything on its own. It had to do things through LICA. And so we prepared, and we got the permission of the board to apply for the grant. Then the board decided, so we got a committee of people that was made of both public Boat Dock Committee people and board members who went ahead and applied for the grant. And then once we wrote our grant application, it was approved by the board, and we went ahead and applied. We found out in January that we didn't get a grant, but we came in like 25 out of 23 grants were awarded. We scored 25th. That was pretty amazing for a group of people that had never applied for a grant before. There were over 100 people that were applying. And what this grant was for, it was for small underserved communities and also traditionally left out communities in the grant doing process. And it's very hard for small communities like Lummi to get anywhere with a public project. So we were pretty stoked about that. In May, the legislature came up with more money, and we found out that we had been awarded the grant. It was $103,450, which is a lot of money. And so the Boat Dock Committee has been working diligently to prepare for the grant period, to do the feasibility study, to investigate to see whether or not that site is a useful site, or even if you can build a dock there. The other part of the feasibility study is just to ask the island to have a conversation about, do we really want a dock or not want to dock? And so this is a way to have a conversation that is facilitated, but also has a direction. It's to find out the answers to all the questions. We've heard, and we have been collecting from day one, people's comments that they've sent to us, people's questions, people's say, oh, no, you'll never be able to do this here because of this or this or this. And so what we are asking our consultants that we are about to hire is design a study so that we can have a conversation amongst our community to decide the pros and the cons so that everybody's voice can be heard. That is the huge concern of everybody. I know there's people that are not for it. I know there's people that are really for it. And it's going to be like our conversations that we have about ferry, about everything. It's a chance for our community to come together and have a conversation. And that's all that this feasibility study will do. At the end of doing and gathering all of the data, We will have a survey that will be sent out to every household on the island to weigh in on how they feel about the concept, because that the site that we are looking at is owned by Whatcom County Parks and Rec. And they really want to know, for many years, there's been something that's been included in the comprehensive plan saying there is a desire on Lummi Island to have a public dock and some boating facilities. It's been there, but it's gone nowhere. So this grant is giving us the opportunity to decide as a community whether or not we want to go there or leave it alone. Okay? And
Question there.
yes,
So the feasibility is not to determine whether the site physically works as a dock location. It's more to see what the community is for and against.
no, part of the feasibility will be studying the site. It is, we have a consulting company that we are about to hire to look at the site to see. And when we have provided them with people's concerns about their sharp curve, traffic, so public access, safe pathways, all of those things are things that we're going to be collecting data on, collecting comments on, and that's where it's going to be. People that live close by are concerned. People that live on the other side of the island are concerned. You know, there's people everywhere. There's people that are really in favor of this too. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're right at the point. We have selected 2 consulting firms. One of them will be doing a public outreach with help from the community and community members, and then another one, and the same company will be doing a marine survey just to see about eelgrass, because that's a question that people have asked. They will be talking to Lummi Nation, because that's something that people have asked. They will be doing a cultural resources study. This is another company, but they will be studying like the historical significance of the site and stuff like that. So that's much more than I wanted to say today about this, but I just I know that it's something that's, I think, kind of important, and we're gonna I think it will be great to have the conversation. And one of the things that we're doing is we've been collecting everybody's written comments. And we also are sending to the consultants to put into their scope of work ways, the comments from people who have been stranded on the island during outages, who've had really a lot of difficulty. I know, so anyway, I need someone to give me a hook and pull me off. So anyway, that's where we're at, okay? And we're just about to start consultants.
It's too, if you want to know anything about the public dock, so you have it on our website. So see public dock there, select that, it'll bring up everything, it'll talk about the grant. It'll give you up-to-date minutes of the meetings. It will tell you everything that's going on monthly. Okay, so just follow the website.
And will it tell us how to provide feedback?
Yes.
Yep.
There's a survey. There's also a little place that you can do feedback as well.
Right.
No.
Yeah, we do have a meeting that will, a town meeting that will be happening probably around the 1st of March. That will be the initial town meeting. And so at that time, you can come and everything. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna do one more, drawing. This is going to be for the wine stopper. Willie Kelly has made those. And just do the last 4 digits.
0818.
0818.
Got it. Everybody, we move on to the good stuff. So Mike was very fortunate this year to make great donations. You guys pitched in, you did wonders for the community here. So we have about 11 different organizations that put in a grant that we wanted to review tonight. 5 of those individuals want to get up and speak about those grants really quickly. They get 2 minutes, 2 minutes only. Mary only had 2 minutes too, but she took over. So anyway, I'm going to go through the grants really quickly and tell you what they are. And then I might ask some individuals to get up and speak about their grants and what the project is about and what it means to the community. Okay, so tonight we have Foil is asking for $300 for archiving and supplies. We have Meals on Wheels asking for $1,000 donation. We have Parish Health asking for $300 for electrical bill for the storage container. Parish Health Ministry asking for $500 for storage supplies to improve the access to the equipment in the containers since they're getting so much equipment now. Lummi Island Historical Society is asking for $500 to do the nonprofit status application. The Grange is asking for $3,000 for purchase materials for outdoor event space. The Gathering Place is asking for $3,000 for the acoustical improvement project. The Gathering Place is also asking for, and a bunch of the community is asking for $300 to redo the labyrinth and rebuild that and put it back. The labyrinth. Did I say it wrong? I'm an accent, guys. Give me a break. Life is asking for $1,000 for Living History Project. And Sarah is unfortunately can't speak tonight. She's not well, so she apologizes. She was going to speak on their behalf. The Salish Center for Sustainable Fishing Methods, $1,000 for the reef net fishing past and present signs. And then we have Lummi Island Heritage Trust is asking for $400 for the ADA trail plan for the Curry Preserve. Okay, so first on our list, we got another microphone. Rebecca, please.
Question,
Yes, please.
can we, all of this and take in the budget?
Yes, ma'am. Budget's next.
My first.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you. So have you all been to the Gathering Place?
Yeah.
Say yes. Yeah. You know, it's a beautiful building with really, really high ceilings and exposed beams and tons of windows. And the sound bounces all over the place in that building until the construction was complete and furnishings and fixtures and things were in the room. We just didn't have an idea of what the acoustic quality of that room would be like. But now as the Gathering Place has been starting to be used for receptions and parties and elderberries every week and yoga every week, community meetings, public meetings, it's become really clear that the acoustics have to be dealt with in the main hall so that everyone can hear and be heard. LICA grant funds will go toward purchasing and installing sound absorbing acoustic panels that are placed up on the ceiling. And just last week, over 700 square feet of sound absorbing panel was placed up on the ceiling over at the Gathering Place. And that should achieve the good sound levels so that small groups and large groups will be able to hear each other when they're in the building. So besides helping pay for the installation and the purchase of those panels, this LICA grant also leveraged another $17,000 for that project. So thank you, LICA. Yay.
I do joke, just so he can step forward and.
I'm the only one on the island right now that is in the labyrinth committee at the gathering place. And if you remember correctly, back in about 2016, we had a labyrinth. And we had a number of visitors to that labyrinth. We had to take that out in order to build the gathering place. And we are now ready to put that back in. There's a group of us who have started working on that objective. We feel that it's probably about a $3,000 endeavor. And we asked for, I think, $300 or $500, I don't remember what it was. And towards that goal, and we have an excavator. The first step we have is location. The location is extremely important because of land disturbance. And we don't want to disturb the land right there under the water. So we'll be working with that location first. And then we will go ahead and plan and be asking for volunteers to lay out. Thank you so much.
Next, we have.
Oh, no, I have a drawing. So, thank you, guys. So we had an architectural artist draw my ideas. Not really, but this is what I envisioned for the Sailor Center, and I've seen most all of you walk by the Sailor Center on Lego Bay Road countless times because it's an amazing walk, and people walk their dogs, they walk for fun, but it happens daily. And so what we want to do is be able to explain to people why we exist there on Lego Bay, but also what the history is of what they're looking at. So Lego Bay, when you see it, it's nature in its most pristine form. But the fact is, a lot of historical things have happened there. And what we'd like to see is reef net towers. I'm advised that probably they will be 2 feet high because it's dangerous to have people too high. But the idea is still the same. You walk up a ladder, and then there's a 20-foot rampart where along it there are 10 like signage placards that explain the history, but also the present of what you're seeing there, because we're not the first ones to inhabit this space, and we want to honor everything that's happened there, and be able to have, when your guests come and people walk that, to be able to really understand what takes place and what has taken place there. So that's my vision.
So I'm here representing Foyle, and the archives have been officially
use of the space where we have the archives, we need to add some additional shelving.
I know.
So that's what we're asking for.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Bobby?
I'm trying to get it.
What do you
Let's see
think?
here.
No, this one, Bobby first.
Might explain exactly why we need the money. You have all heard that there is, I hope you've all heard about the little museum that we have down on Lego Bay Road in the marina property.
Sorry.
So this isn't the first time that we have tried to look for a place to keep our archives and artifacts. At one time, when Rich and Eileen Johnson started the beach, the Islander store in early 1970s, Rich started to collect from old Islanders bits of equipment that was used here on the island, and it was saved for until in 2011 when Debbie and Brad, thank you, could no longer put it back in place. I got a phone call asking if I would help find somewhere. And I did a lot of research, and the Heritage Trust through Becca kindly gave me a temporary spot to store the stuff. 7 years later, I get a phone call, we need to move out. And that's when I had a dilemma. Malcolm said, not in our garage. And then, so I met with Paul Davis and Ed Scott, and we talked about what are we gonna do with this stuff. I was told that if we hadn't have saved it, it would have gone to the dump. When I looked at it, I said, this has to stay on the island. So from there on, we have tried very hard to find a place. Now, we have grown in numbers, our little group, the Historical Society, and we are hoping that if we can get money to go through and become a non-profit, we'll stand a better chance of finding somewhere that's permanent. We have Mark Fintacker very generously allowed us his room in the marina. It's damp, and every fall we have to move photographs and written stuff out and put it back in the spring. So it's desperate to keep this archives and stuff going safe. We need to really have a home. It's lovely because we're getting phone calls from Islanders. We have, and you can have it if you have somewhere permanent. And the latest, we have 3 wonderful pictures that have been given us. And the Civic Club very generously gave us $500 to have those preserved. The willows way back right at the beginning, when we had all the fishing boats, all the different types of fishing off Lego Bay. I can't remember what the other one was, the other picture, but anyway, we have some really good stuff, and I hope that you'll come and take a look at it. Non-profit is expensive, and the $500 will allow us to pursue that. And we're working on it right now. So I hope we get good support.
Okay, last but not least, Leslie.
Oh, I got my. I have my should scale architectural model. And I'll refer back to comments.
Hold it up.
It's powered off. She ran out of battery.
I'll hold it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jessica.
Can you hear me? Is this turned on?
Yeah, you have to talk into it.
I'm Leslie Dempsey. There's a few people I don't know here, so I just want to say hi. I'm the president of the Lemmy Island Grange. This building is the Grange Hall. The Grange has been around since 1930 here on Lemmy Island, and the building has been here a little bit longer than that. It's kind of a complicated history. We're in the process of delving into that with the idea that we may want to see if we can put this building on the Washington State Historic Registry, which is kind of an exciting project. It's going to be a long project. And that has nothing to do with this, except to say, this is this beautiful old building. This is my assistant. This beautiful old building takes a lot of care, and Grange members and friends of the Grange and Islanders, you know, through the years have lovingly cared for this building. The request that we're making is to do a little bit of repair on the outside. We've got some exterior shingles that need to be repaired. There's some things about the roof, but the really exciting thing is that we want to make an outdoor event space that will help our rentals be more attractive and more efficient. It will make our range events us able to have a higher level of occupancy and more efficiency. So what you can't see, if this is the first time you've been in the building, is through these double doors out here is a really large deck. And then a covered area, that's our barbecue area, and then a big parking area, gravel parking area in the back. We have a couple of containers. In the far corner is where we have our aluminum recycle. Everybody in the island drops their aluminum cans there and take them into the recycle, and that supports one of our community outreach efforts. But we have this storage container tucked in the back corner, sort of perpendicular to the building, almost 50% covered over with blackberry vines. And when we got this idea to enhance our outdoor event space, we went and put the blackberry vines off. We found someone who would come with his big equipment. I don't even know the name of this machine, but he hitched up the container with big chains and lifted it up and spun it around. And if you were here in the daylight, you would look out and you would see that this container now sits just off the deck, maybe 15 feet, parallel to the building now. So what we are, one of the most exciting thing about this grant request is we are proposing to turn this into part of our outdoor event space by putting a roof, a shed roof. Our guys, Mel and Larry, put their brains together and figured out how to cantilever this without doing supports here. I think they're using steel beams and bolting it to the container. So we'll have roofing there. The doors are only on one end, we'll store things in there. But when we have an event, we'll be able to set up, you know, tables out front, have our wine.
It's all about the wine.
A lot like Jesse.
Or a band.
The Grange's alcohol service policy for our events is that you have to have a mass certificate, and I know you do, so that must be you serving.
That's me.
So we have talked with an island artist who is willing to donate a mural on the back. We don't know what it will be, but one of the ideas that came up was a giant fish, so you can see that. And then we'll paint the rest of it. You dropped it or not. Our plan involves, so if you folks went to the honky tonk that we had last year.
Yeah.
Because we have a beer garden, we had to comply with the Washington State Liquor Control Board's requirements and fence in the outdoor section of the beer garden. So volunteers, including Peter and Jesse and other folks, went through a really crazy effort to try to create poles that we could stretch fencing on. We borrowed the plastic green fencing from the Heritage Trust, and we did that, and then we just run lights up. Well, we have come up with a way to have movable poles, 10-foot tall poles embedded in cement blocks with hooks at, midway and at the top. The hooks at the top, about 10 feet up, we will stretch lights all the way around the outdoor space. And it'll be really easy to put out there, really easy to take down, and we won't burn out our volunteers with this crazy effort. So we've got all of this in process, and we're really excited about it, and we're gonna have a big party this summer when we get it done, and everyone's invited. Grant money?
Yeah.
Oh, for singles and buying the lights and the materials for these posts that
So the
we're
whole
making and the roofing and the mural is a donation. I don't know who's doing it, but a lot of those little things add up.
I've been told that Carol wants to do another draw. Thank you, Leslie.
Wine basket, made by Jesse, and a little bit of whatever inside. Did you get it?
That'll be the way.
Yeah, part of Hollywood.
Oh, only one.
Yeah.
No, that was his.
Yes.
Yeah.
On now.
0778.
Okay, so guys, next we're gonna have Bill Sager come up. He's gonna explain our budget for 2024. Bill? All right, so a lot of really good people asking for money. In the past, we've actually had to make a lot of hard decisions, and last year was a really hard one. We were running out of money. We didn't know how we get to positive numbers at all. But mostly thanks to the person who's walking out the room and his sales capabilities. So, you've seen that we came out to the end of the year from Danielle really well. And what we wanted to do was never make sure that never happened again. I mean, we all got kind of scared. I mean, are we gonna go back out and with our hand open, asking for more money during halfway through the year? And luckily, with what we did last year, we didn't have to. So this year, we took a conscious decision to make sure that our budget was an educated budget, if you would. That we really looked at the low-level expenses, as anyone would with their own budget, and put them together, the real costs of what was going on, buffer them a little bit, because things go up, and come up with a reasonable expense versus income. And so this year, we have actually accounted for, what does it cost us to put the website up? What does it cost us for this software that various volunteers have been paying on their own, that really the organization should pay for? And so you've all got the spreadsheet that I put together kind of with the summary of the expenses and income. But you'll notice on the expenses that one of our major expenses is actually just insurance, just to protect both the officers and directors as well as the volunteers. And this year we're actually we didn't have volunteer protection, and we've actually added that to the budget this year to bring in. We're also bringing in the D&O insurance up to a level that's compatible with other volunteer organizations on the island. We're The tome is, we went through last year, we were able, again, thanks to Jesse, we were able to go to a different vendor to print. Greatly reduced our costs. I mean, that was the number one topic a year ago, was how do we reduce our costs on the tome? And you actually got bonus editions out last year. You know, we expect to be able to continue that, and we'll continue looking at reducing that cost as we go forward. Out of this, the great part is that it was, as we were looking at all the numbers and figuring out how much money do we actually need to raise, our number one goal was to be able to say that we could absolutely afford to pay every, you know, fund every grant that was actually requested to it. And that's, you know, what we're actually going to be voting on here, and what we're suggesting is that we know we can pay for them all. We're actually done some other things in here that actually are good for operational health. We're gonna plan on 2 fundraisers this year. One we know will actually be a dinner. Then the second one, we're still trying to figure out what's the best thing, but we have a good target and we have a high confidence that we'll be able to reach that. We're also putting in an operational budget, operational buffer, that at the end of the year, we'll have the ability to pay it back. So it'll be a $10,000 that we have available for our use, and then $10,000 has to be back in that account at the end of the year. That's mostly to handle the cash flow that is there to assist in some of the boat dock expenses, as that grant is, and they've done a great job of going out to the community and actually getting funds to be able to fund it temporarily. But one of the things Mary didn't mention is we have to pay for it first, and then we get the money back. And that's pretty hard for a nonprofit company to go do. So, you know, the tome's not quite paying for itself yet, but like I said, we're gonna be looking at different ways of actually reducing that cost still. The e-tome is actually way up. And Brown Betty, all their electronic, you know, nearly on Brown Betty, you can see that nearly two-thirds of our citizens, our community members, are actually receiving that Brown Betty. And we hope that the e-tome will actually be able to do that as well. And so my wife, Chris, she keeps advertising the fact that if you want the best experience, go ahead and go to the electronic version. And if we can figure out this year how to actually reduce the amount of what we're printing and mailing, then that's even better. It's just more money to the grants. And so the other part that we wanted to make sure is, so, you know, push comes to shove, the expenses going out and the income coming in, we're still saying that we're gonna bring in $6,000 more than what we're gonna spend. And in that, our main, because of last year, one of the main objectives has also been to be able to get a reserve in place, so that if the worst happens, we've still got 6 months worth of operating capital to work with. And at the end of this year, we should actually accomplish that. So we've got the biggest budget, biggest set of expenses, but the biggest set of income, and we're pretty confident about what's going to be coming through. And we're hoping to do even better than what this is here, because some of the expenses that we've actually allocated for, we're not quite sure whether they'll actually come in or not. So.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so you've heard the presentation on the budget, and you know what we've asked for grants. So what I need now is a motion from the floor to approve the grant package, and not really the budget, but yeah, I guess you can approve that too.
Move the grants be approved.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Second by Joni. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Yay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, and our final little bit of business tonight is electing our new board. So,
I get to do it again. Hi, everybody. So we have 8 positions up for renewal, and we have a couple of vacancies. So I'm gonna go through this really quickly. So our nominees, so we have a nomination committee. And these are our nominees. So we have David Thorne, and he will be applying for a 1-year term. We have Daniel Walters, who is our incumbent treasurer for a 2-year term. We have Aaron Deinzer for, which is gonna be new for a 2-year term. Jim McCon, incumbent for a 2-year term. Julia Lowe, who couldn't make it tonight, she's sorry she couldn't make it, but she's new, she's applying for a 1-year term. And then we have Dan Despondi, incumbent for a 2-year term. So before we vote on this, we need to know if there's any nominations from the floor. But to run on the board as well. So no one wants to run on the board?
All right, you
You
can do
can
it.
get part. I know you want to. Okay. All right, so can I have approval to, no, you do this one, or you do this, sorry, Mary.
okay.
Sorry, your turn. I'll get it
All
right.
right, so since we have no nominations from the floor, we are allowed to vote by acclamation. Can I have a, thank you, Pam. Okay, seconded, good. All right, so all in favor of the slate as presented, say aye, or raise your hands. Yay. Okay, guys. Oh, okay, so, we have a new board. Yes. And now, what they need to do is go into the kitchen and have a really quick, and don't sit there and drink.
That's what we're going here.
Because, you know, I know. So the board needs to elect, no. So the board needs to elect their officers. And,
$25.
yeah, Carol, you gotta go elect. I don't have to, so. I'll handle it.
Paul's gonna do another round.
All right, thanks, Molly. Yeah, okay, here's the drawing guy, part.
My number.
Let me take yours.
What's the number?
0787.
0787. Who's the lucky winner? Maybe it's one of the board members.
Yeah, be present to win.
Yeah. Hey. All right. Okay. 0787. Yeah, all right, now. When we rock and roll. Okay, and they'll be in pretty quick to announce who the new officers will be, and I guess I'm supposed to just kind of talk a little bit. Anyone have any questions? Any good jokes?
Wait,
Yeah.
I think that you need to acknowledge that police with the treasurer put together this wonderful thing.
Oh, yes, no, it was Denise Edgar who did to put together the lovely hero. Yes.
I paid for it, I bought it.
Yeah, she's the charcuterie queen. Yeah. Okay. And I have something I want to say as like the outgoing president, and I'm stepping down off the board this year for, and it's been really good to come back I rejoined the board back in 2020 after Lou passed away. And I need a break, and I'm really, really, really happy that we have such a great group of people that are gonna continue on and help LICA grow. And so that's a really good thing. So, okay, and they're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Guys, can y'all get back in here? People wanted to socialize. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, after we tell you who the new board officers are, please stay and socialize. Please ask us any questions you want to ask us. There's plenty of food still left. There's plenty of wine and water and whatever else you'd like to drink. So please stay and get to know everybody. We are a community, so the tighter we are, the better it is. So tonight, I'll start with our new secretary. Our new secretary for the LICA board will be Erin Dine. Our treasurer is David. I will stay as the VP. And our new president will be Bill Sager. Congratulations. So it's the guy who comes back from the kitchen with a beer. Luckily, it's not quite empty yet. So thank you all for coming tonight. We are planning on some great improvements this year. And community involvement is really important to us. We've got both the boat dock going this year, as well as we are trying to partner with the Whatcom County Ferry Advisory Committee. Because that's so important to us. And we need a lot of community outreach in order to start worrying about how we're going to survive the outage that's going to occur when the new ferry is built. And all the contingencies and plans and such, and everything. So there's a lot of issues and we got to figure it all out. And that's going to take a lot of people. So I thank you again for everybody coming here. We always can use volunteers. Please reach out. If you want anything in the tome, please reach out. Just reach out.
Yep.
All right, thanks y'all.
And one more.
Wait. And the grand prize, all right, so. And the
And the $25 to get back.
guys, really quickly too, we've got about 2 spots left on the blood drive tomorrow. Okay, there's 37 spots. We had 2 vacancies come up. So if anybody can give blood, please go online and register. If you don't know how to register, if you just text myself or Mary, we will get you added tomorrow. It's all day tomorrow. And look forward to seeing everybody there. And I'll pass.
One last prize.
You too.
Wait.
One more prize.
One last order.
For those of you guys interested, if you don't know, the Ferry Advisory Committee is meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the gathering place. So.
Okay, thank you.
794, and this is, oh, good. This is.
Here, I'll look one more. One more.
But like, we did that. While we did that for me.
Yeah, we did that when you guys were.
While we were out.
around the kitchen.
Yeah. I think it's even.
All right, let's keep it.
Not great, not great.
Once they're here.
Once they're here, they're and out of the roads now.
Well, I've heard that bottom. So, but it's.